Two. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Smarter Campus podcast, where we are changing education one conversation at a time. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Luca Caniato, a freshman at CU Boulder that is incredibly interested in artificial intelligence. He's a fly fishing guide, everything under the sun. Luca, thank you so much for being here. If you could tell everyone a little bit more about yourself, what your major is, things like that, we can dive in.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me, Zach. Super excited to be here. Yeah, so as Zach mentioned, I'm a freshman at CU Boulder. I was born in New York City, lived in Manhattan until I was 5, and I live in Connecticut and study out here in Colorado. Love the outdoors, love fly fishing. So that's why I was drawn to Colorado. And then here I'm in the business school. I'm presidential and lead scholar studying finance and management information systems. And I think AI is caught in my interest as it has the world's, right? It's kind of hard to ignore. And I think it's important that we kind of embrace it with open arms and learn as much as we can.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, how did you get into AI? Like, when did you first discover it?
Yeah. I think ChatGPT was like for most people my age and stuff was my big introduction, right? I think you talk to a lot of people about AI today and they just think of ChatGPT or generative AI, but AI has been around for 50 years, right? And machine learning is not a new thing. But that was how I became introduced to it and started using it a lot, helping me study and do those kinds of things. And then I started trying to help other people use AI. So I started to teach my classmates, started doing some small scale consulting, and now doing it with a couple of companies. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's so cool. How old are you?
I'm 18.
18 years old and you're doing consulting. How'd you get there? Like, what led for you to feel confident enough to go say, hey, I can do consulting for you. I'm 18 years old.
Yeah, well, I think there's people that say they do consulting and they're doing a lot more than I do. It's definitely a lot more legit. But I do it to a certain extent. I think to be able to do that, I got curious and just started talking to people. I had one internship that was through my high school at the end of my senior year, and she had her own ideas of what she wanted the intern to do. And I was like, you know what? I want to try AI consulting. Would you be willing to be a guinea pig client? And then she turned into a real client. And then just talking to people that were into space, other kids that were interested, talking once I got to school about opportunities and some things come up. You go to AI club and stuff like that. The AI club here at CU Boulder, there's awesome, tons of opportunities through that. The internship I'm working was through AI club. So I think just showing up and talking to people and then just being willing to put yourself in that uncomfortable situation and just try and learn as you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of things people talk about is the negative sides of AI, right? But a lot of people are
Mm,
missing the fact that, again, there's no better way to learn how to do something than actually do it in the real world. And you're doing that, right? You were like, I'm going to go get work experience by doing consulting. I'm going to go say yes that I can do this. So if you could kind of talk through, like, before AI, you probably wouldn't have been able to do consulting right now. But like, what through
mm.
AI has allowed you to like do this stuff?
Yeah. Well, I think it's an opportunity, right? Yeah, AI, it's a lot of people look at it as this big dooming thing, this big like storm cloud. But I think there's so much opportunity that comes with it because it's this new technology, it's this new thing, and it's impacting all of us, right? So it can be as simple as because I'm not super technical, right?
Yep.
But if I can get really good at using ChatGPT and go explain to someone who's an executive how they can use ChatGPT or just existing tools and platforms and how to leverage those to be more efficient at what they do, I mean, that's a huge opportunity. And if you can save an executive even just an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours a week, I mean, that's huge to them, right? Time is your most valuable asset at that level. So if you can come in and give them a way to save time and be more effective, I think that's ultimately why AI is such a great opportunity because it enables us to spend less time on those lower level things and more time on those high level things that really need our mental capacity and stuff, or that we should be spending our mental capacity on.
Yeah. And I mean, I think one thing you said that's very interesting is you use ChatGPT to teach other people how to use ChatGPT. I think a lot of people don't use AI enough to teach themselves how to use AI. Explain that.
100%. I mean, if you say you have ChatGPT on your phone, you have Pro, whatever, even if you have free, there's some limits, you have like the world's knowledge in your
Yeah.
pocket, right? I mean, anything, there's really no reason. If you want to learn something, there's no reason you can't learn it right now. You just have to be willing to go and prompt and get uncomfortable. And for example, what's one way I'm using ChatGPT to learn how to do AI, right? Or how to use AI to do AI. I'm trying to build a RAG system right now. And I'm not technical. I've never coded before. I've vibe coded a little bit in the past. So what I've done is I've created a project folder in ChatGPT and I've explained what I want to do, how do I want to do it, and it's walking me through step by step how to retrieve all the API keys. It's taking me through, giving me all the code to put in the VS Code, and it's just taking me through that step by step, how to set up the database. And now we're gonna have to get into trying to chunk all the data and then vectorize it and things that I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm learning as I go.
I mean, you're excited. You're like me, very excited human being. What is so exciting about this right now for you?
Really the opportunity. It's really the opportunity. It's because it's so new. I think it's a little bit like the internet, and maybe more specifically like when social media first became a big thing. My mom likes to compare it to social media a lot, where she would have these like younger people coming into the office being like, "Here's how you should use Instagram," or "Here's how you should use Facebook." Right? It's the same thing with AI. I think as opposed me being young, I have a lot of time that I could just kind of experiment, whereas someone who's a full-time job doesn't. So there's an opportunity for me to learn and go and help people. And there's just so many things you can do because once you get good at using these tools, and if you can get a little bit more technical, then you can start to build things. And it's just, there's really no limit to it. And we're all learning as we go. That's the other cool thing. We're all learning as we go, and it's all evolving so quickly. And yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's so cool. So I want to kind of take a step back into your high school days, right? So you were in high school when ChatGPT came out, right? Yes.
yes,
Yes, I think so. So, were you
yes,
educated on this stuff in high school?
definitely not. It was, I think there's teachers that were like, don't use it, avoid it. And there were some very rare conversations if the teacher was cool and we'd have a few minutes before we got into curriculum that they would talk about it and stuff, and maybe we'd have a little class discussion. But everyone was either neglecting it or the teachers were preaching against it or people were just using it unethically. And we were definitely never taught how to use it properly. I think I had one teacher, an economics teacher, my senior year, that started to try to get us to use it a little bit, and he like made a lesson plan with it, but very minimal. So I never really learned. I was never really taught, and I still in college and not really being taught how to use it or apply it yet.
So, do you think college it's been more like you've learned like people have talked about it more?
Yes, because I think people are more, but not through the curriculum, but through outside the classroom, through clubs, because people are more, as we get older, we start to think about, okay, what are we going to do for work and stuff? And also as this I don't want to call it a bubble because I don't think it's going to burst, but as this idea of AI grows and becomes increasingly more important, more people are talking about it, especially as you get older and stuff, and you get around these people that are older and talking about it. So I am learning about it more at college, but not really through the classroom.
What would you like to learn in the classroom?
It's a good question. I think the biggest thing we should be taught is A, how it works, and then B, the ethics behind it, right? Because I think using any system that you don't really know how it works, you're never going to be able to use it effectively, right? It's like if you drive a car, you don't know how it works, you're probably not going to drive the car in a way that's going to take care of it. You're not going to take care of the car well. And if it runs into a problem, you're going to be stuck. Same thing with ChatGPT, understanding how it's trained, where that data is coming from, how to prompt these kinds of things so that we can get the best output out of it. And then ethics, right? Especially for younger kids and students, but even at the college level, right? Where is the data coming from? There's ethics in that, but then how do you use it to maintain integrity, to enhance and not replace skills? And I think giving students use cases and examples for that would be very helpful.
What do you think like the sentiment in the classroom is right now? Like what would you say the like general vibe around AI is?
It's getting better, and I think it feels a little bit better in college, whereas in high school it was very like, don't use it. No, no, no. Now, like I hear stories of professors would be like, you can use it, but you just need to cite it. Cite how you used it, right? We will have actually have one class that because it's kind of a business ethics and business class and it's current events, we were talking about how these LLMs are being trained and taking data and the ethics behind that. So I think it's we're shifting from like being scared of completely neglecting it to now embracing it slowly.
Okay. So, I mean, I think one thing people are really interested in hearing about is like, the job market's weird right now. Like, you see all the articles of people getting fired. Like, what do you think about
Mm-hmm.
that as a freshman in college?
It's I think it's a horrible job market. It's difficult. Everyone's saying it, right? It's not a surprise. It shouldn't come to a surprise to any kid in college right now. The reality is that the job market's changing. AI, due to AI, we're losing a lot of those entry-level jobs. There's a professor here at CU Boulder, very fantastic professor. We're lucky to have. His name's Jeremiah Contreras, and he was talking about this. He's kind of leading the AI initiative at the business school, Lead School of Business. Before AI, the hiring kind of like looked like a triangle, right? Where you had all these like entry level positions, and as you work your way up the ladder, you kind of narrow it down to the CEO, right?
Yep.
And now it's kind of becoming more like a diamond, right? We're losing a lot of those analyst positions, those entry level positions, maybe gaining a little bit more of those mid level jobs. The senior jobs are still the same. So what does this mean to me as someone looking at the job market? Well, how am I going to learn to use AI? Because everyone that's hiring right now, that's what they want to know. If I was to hire someone, I want to know how you're using AI. What's a business situation you've identified that's helpful that you used, or like a problem, a business problem that you used AI to help solve? Um, how can I develop as much as a like how can I develop my character and how can I become the best version of myself possible? So when I do meet that right person or sit at that table to interview, I can be the best version of myself to interview, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So there's more pressure to, I guess, learn and improve. But it's doable. It's 100% doable. I just think it's not going to be necessarily as given. You're going to have to seek it out a little bit more.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, like, what steps are you taking to like be able to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think relationships have never been more important, right? Everyone now, right? I think AI can write the perfect resume. I feel like every year high school students getting smarter and smarter, like the requirements needed to get into the top schools. I mean, everyone has the perfect GPA, everyone has all the extracurriculars. So what sets you apart? I think your character and then the people you know, right? And I think as the world becomes increasingly more digital and stuff, those real, tangible connections, meaningful connections that you have, that's going to be the difference. And I think, especially for college kids, networking has never been more important. How many people can you learn from, get to know, and just putting yourself out there? I think that's one thing I'm doing, just reaching out to as many people as I can and just having those conversations. You never know what you'll learn, what someone you will talk to knows, and those kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you're here right now, right? It's like you came out of your
Yeah.
way and now you're on a podcast and it's super interesting. Uh, so like do you think, like you were kind of talking about how like the traditional career path is changing, right? So like starting as an analyst, moving up to a senior analyst, moving up to a manager, like that stuff's changing. So you seem like a bit of an entrepreneur yourself, right? So like, do you see yourself going the traditional route, or are you going to want to try to like kind of do your own thing?
I think right now, a lot of kids my age, there's this like hype to start the AI business and to
Yeah.
start their own business. But I also think that at my age, there's a very unique opportunity to just learn and put yourself in these scenarios to gain experience. What do I mean by this? When I'm 45, I can't just walk up to anyone and be like, hey, let's grab coffee. I just want to learn. Right? I think that'd be a little bit weird. But for me, who's an 18, has little experience as I do, I can learn anything from anyone. So most people would be willing to sit down with me and just chat, right?
Yep.
Um, so in terms of going the entrepreneur route, starting your own business versus doing the more traditional route, I guess going to work for someone else, I think it's important to gain as much experience as you can so that when you do your decide to go and do your own thing, you can do it as best as possible. And you'll also be more because you'll be more well informed with having that had that experience. Yeah, I think just and you'll be able to do as best as possible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's because I think you're right too. Like, there's so much hype around, like, oh, one person can start $1 billion business. But like, I really like what you're saying is that the only thing that matters is who you know and like how to get to know
Mm,
more people, right? And how to learn from other
exactly.
people and how to learn from experiences. Because learning how to do things is easy now. Like learning how to crunch numbers in an Excel sheet or learning how to code, like you can do that. But learning from real life experience is what's valuable. So, Luca, a lot of people that listen to this are teachers, right? It's kind of like the big audience. So, if you were talking to a big group of teachers right now, what would you say, like as a freshman in
Mm,
college, like, oh, I wish I had more of this?
mm. That's a great question. I was talking to a big group of teachers. I'd say I wish I had more use cases of AI in the classroom applicable to when I'm studying, whether it's a finance course, a business ethics course, even a science course. I think we can use AI for really anything, and it's just about developing that mindset. I think even forget about giving us tangible AI curriculum. Let's just start encouraging students, right?
Yeah.
To be like, hey, and maybe try using AI to learn this, right? Because at the end of the day, for most of us who aren't computer science majors, it's just a mindset. Going back to this wonderful professor I was talking about, Jeremiah Contreras, I love the way he puts it. He's like, just go play, just go mess around, and it's really a mindset to start to think, to start to look at the world in a way, be like, how could I use AI to help me do this? And again, it's not using AI to replace; it's using AI to enhance. So for teachers, it's how can you, as a teacher, start to use AI and develop that mindset yourself? And how can you start to pass that on to your students, right? Because I think the two major skills you can give to any student, especially a college student right now, number one, communication and your ability to collaborate with other people. And I'd say number two is AI literacy. And you don't have to be able to code a full stack website line per line. But if you can know how to use 5 to 10 existing AI tools and be able to bring those into a company and use them to save some time or be efficient or create value, that's the biggest thing. But at the end of the day, it comes down to that mindset. So for the teachers out there, how can you develop that mindset yourself and start to pass that on to your students?
Have you ever helped a teacher use AI?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think.
I'll ask you
I
another
don't think
question.
so.
Have you ever had a student or have you ever had a teacher ask for help in class? Like, have you ever had a teacher be like, hey, I don't know what this stuff is. Does anyone know about this? How would you
I
respond
think
if one
we've
of your teachers did say that?
I would happily respond and whatever the question was, right? Would be willing to share. I think that's the thing too. I can't really think of a time that a teacher's asked me about how to use AI or sought out help for using AI. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think there's a bit of fear around it, especially in the educational space. That's a tricky thing. I think it's easy in the business world, easier, but there's a lot of kind of resentment around AI. And so to be a teacher and to be like making yourself vulnerable in that sense and trying to learn
Yeah.
I think it could be a little bit scary sometimes. And I think not all teachers feel fully confident doing that. And I think that's ultimately why. But I
And
think they should.
you would have no issue helping one.
I would have no issue at all.
Cool, right? I think that's like a huge thing that like no one talks about. It's like how often are teachers going into a classroom and asking, "Hey, I have no idea what I'm doing. Does anyone here know what they're doing that we can talk about it?"
Hmm.
Like, what would you say that you would that would change how you feel about the teacher if they did that?
I think, listen, I have the utmost respect for every teacher, but I think my respect for them would skyrocket if they were to come into the classroom like, hey, just as we're coming in their classroom being like, hey, we're trying to learn this. If they came to us like, hey, we're trying to learn this, that'd be really cool. I'd have a lot of respect for that. And I'd be so like happy to kind of help them, right? And I think again, going back to why there's so much opportunity, we're all learning together, right? So it's just about, I guess, making yourself vulnerable, putting yourself in that position to learn. But yeah, that would be really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a point that like a lot of people need to hear, and I've never actually asked a student that, which I'm excited that
Hmm.
this came up. It's that like you would love to help a teacher. And I think a lot of teachers
Yeah.
think that they don't want to talk about it, right? Like, because we've been in this like cat and mouse game for the last 3 years, right? Where it's like, don't use it, I'm gonna catch you. Like I think just to ask another question, if a teacher uses an AI detector, what does that make you feel about the teacher?
I mean, I think it's reasonable. I think most teachers use it. I think every time I have to upload a paper, especially in high school, it's turnitin.com. That checks for AI. And I believe now when I upload the Canvas, it also does an AI scan. It doesn't change my opinion. It definitely doesn't like generate a negative opinion. I think it's important. The problem is I don't feel like they're always super accurate. Like I have literally written something word for word off the top of my head, and I've like put in like let me try. And it'll say it's written by AI, and it's so there. It's a little bit tricky, but I think that's part of learning to use it ethically, right, and keeping us in check, right? Because there's lots of students that will maybe they're on a time crunch and they just drop the essay prompt in the chat GPT and it spits out something, they just upload that. And right. And that defeats the purpose of learning, right? That's not why we go to school. So I think it's important. I don't think I think that's totally fine. I think
Yeah.
teachers should do that. Yeah.
Well, Luca, we're kind of coming up on time. This has been super awesome. So I got two questions I ask everybody. Uh, First one, if you could snap your fingers and change your education system around you, what would be changed after you snap your fingers?
That's a hard one to answer because I mean, I'm very grateful for what I have. There's so much.
Yeah.
I think if I could snap my fingers, I would have more AI curriculum. The problem is right now it's just with education, you can't just throw stuff into a curriculum. There's a lot of stakeholders, a lot of things need to get approved. So if I could snap my fingers, I'd kind of jump to the future and skip over that
Yeah.
process so that we could just start teaching students how to use AI.
Yeah, that's funny. I agree with you. The red tape's pretty incredible that has to go
Hmm.
skip, hop, and jump through. So last one. What's your favorite way to use AI outside of work or school? Mine is cooking, as an example.
Minus cooking. There's a couple ways I use it. I really love if I am trying to make a decision, I'll go into voice mode because the power of putting like ideas and thoughts into voice. I mean, it's why therapists exist, why therapists make money, right? Just
Yeah.
talking, right, is so powerful. So if I'm trying to make a decision, I'll go into ChatGPT voice mode on my phone, give it all the context, and I'll tell it to be critical because these things at the end of the day, these are businesses, these are for people pleasers. So you have to be careful, be like, don't just agree with me, be
Yeah.
critical.
Mhm.
X, Y, and Z. Here's what I'm thinking through. What do you think? And sometimes, even regardless of what they say, the fact that I just said it out loud will give me clarity for some decisions. That's something I really love.
Cool. Well, Luca, thank you so much. Any lasting thoughts for people listening?
No, I think just we're all learning. Don't be scared of AI and don't get intimidated by it. And just don't also, I think we talk about AI and it sounds like a burden, right? Like, oh my God, I need to go learn all this stuff. I think I'm gonna say what my professor says and just play, just mess around. And don't put that pressure on yourself and just play.
That's amazing. Well, for everyone listening, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you again next week. Luca, thank you so much.
Thank you, Zach.